New concerns tonight about a story the Kelly File brought you on Tuesday night, as we are now learning that the police-involved shooting in Chicago has reportedly inspired threats against the city's entire police department. The officers involved in the pursuit and eventual death of 18-year-old Paul O'Neill are not being named out of fears for their safety. And the concerns over this case are inspiring growing questions about whether these threats are based on the facts of O'Neill's death or the interpretations of a select few. Michael Oppenheimer is a civil rights attorney now representing the family of Paul O'Neill. Michael, what do you make of the reports of these threats for the entire police department as a result of what happened?
So I have heard these reports. I think, first of all, no one, not the O'Neill family, not me, no one wants police officers to be injured or hurt. There have been way too many this year alone. They have a very, very tough job, and they lay their lives on the line every day for the community. However, I think that these reports are a distraction. They are a distraction from actually what's going on here, and that is you have an unarmed African-American kid who is shot in the back by Chicago police officers. I think that this is a distraction. No one wants any police officer to be hurt. Nobody wants anybody to be hurt. But this is a distraction.
All right, so you said that the officer who fired the fatal shot intentionally shut down his body camera. How do you know that when no camera actually captured that happening? I mean, we know that there was 9 different cameras that you have seen the video of, 5 attached to the dashboard of police cruisers and 4 attached to the officers themselves.
Well,
but none of them captured the actual fatal shot.
Correct, and that's exactly the point. There are so many unanswered questions. In the age of GoPro and Instagram and all these other things, we have these body cams who are notoriously high quality. They're very clear quality. All these other officers' body cams were working. It is strange to me, it is peculiar to say the least, that the officer who apparently shot Paul O'Neill in the back, that his body cam was not working. To say that it wasn't working or we don't have it is insane to me.
Right.
How is it not working? How is it not turned on?
And one other question for you, but we have to move on. But sure. the not naming of the police officers involved, how is the family reacting to that?
Well, look, we filed a federal civil rights lawsuit in federal court. We don't know the names of the officers yet because they have not been released to us. Eventually, those officers' names will be out as part of a public lawsuit. All right.
All right. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Sure.
All right. Joining me now with reaction to that is Dean Angelos, Sr., President of the Chicago Fraternal Order of Police. Your reaction to our discussion there with the family's attorney?
Well, it just feeds the frenzy again, making statements like the individual officer purposely turned his camera off when that's completely inaccurate. The officer's camera would have been on, then shut off, and then it was turned back on later on in the throughout that event. The officers just got those cameras about 4 days earlier. They're still through the processes of getting used to them, to get involved in a situation that these officers were engaged in, and then have the wherewithal to focus on the implementation of that new device, and then to think that it was a conspiratorial type of a disconnection that the officer went through to not capture that is, again,
what is your interpretation of the video that you have seen? Because I assume you've seen all of it.
Yes, I've seen the videos. I've seen an incident that occurred over a matter of seconds. I've seen officers that are involved in a vehicle pursuit that get out of a vehicle, their vehicle, put themselves in harm's way when the car comes crashing down through the 2 parked vehicles towards an officer. He's able to get out of the way. The gunfire starts, and then the officers start their foot pursuit shortly after the car hits head-on. So we've all seen, you know, the incident play out in video, but the mindset of the individual officers that are there is what's being brushed over. To think that someone is particularly or participating in an event to cover up and not capture his confrontation with the young guy as he's running through the yards.
This young
18-year-old
man is dead, and the police force is under threat. We're being told now this is a horrible situation in the city of Chicago, one that has to be dealt with. What is the morale there of the police right now?
Well, the morale is probably the lowest I've seen it in my 36 years with the police department. Everyone is wondering when the next shoe is going to drop. You know, we have a narrative out here that's inaccurate. It started with statements coming from the attorney that this young guy was shot in the back of the head, execution style, which was not true. We have the head of the investigating units making statements to the effect that the video is horrible and shocking and difficult to watch even before it gets played. And that's the narrative we're dealing with here.
All right, well, we've got to leave it there. Dean Angelo, Sr., thank you for joining us tonight.